up, Molly?
Hey there.
How you doing?
Pretty good. My dog walked away finally, so he just really demands to be pet quite often, which I sometimes I'm like, all right, this one I'm probably gonna be writing stuff down at. So
that's awesome.
Okay, let me set it up.
Regis, while you're getting set up, I'll just remind everyone what the session is on today. So first, just housekeeping items. If you all are looking for the slides, they are available in the meeting invite. I'll also drop them here in the chat. Give me 1 second. Here you are. And so today, well, ahead of every release, we're going to have a member of the product team talk to us about some of the key features that are planned for the release. As always, these are the things that are planned, so it's not promised that they're going to make it, but we still feel like it's a good idea to just understand what the product team is planning and working on. So for this, Regis is going to focus on a few things, which I documented in the meeting invite. So basically talking about Geo, talking about Burndown Charts, talking about updates to cycle analytics, and then also just a reminder that time tracking the EE product is releasing with 8.14. And I think Regis also included some bonus items. So it should be a good session today.
Thank you, Amara. Okay, can everyone hear me fine? All right. Okay. Fortunately, I have two screens, so even if I share this, like, okay, so I'm gonna present it. Can you see it full screen now? It's fine? Okay, awesome. All right, thanks a lot for being there. So as Amara said, I'm going to talk about what's coming in GitLab, not necessarily in 8.14, but at least in the coming release. But also I will cover, I will tell you when it's actually coming in 8.14, supposedly, okay? So today I'm going to talk about, well, actually Amara has already introduced that. So let's move on to disaster recovery. So disaster recovery, this is the definition made by, well, written on Wikipedia, basically. So it's a set of policies and procedures to enable the recovery of vital information, basically, if something crashes, like a disaster, whatever that can be, right? So the question is, what happens when everything fails on the primary server? Of course, if everything for the disaster recovery is on the same data center, for instance, there is an earthquake, well, too bad, I mean, you've lost everything, right? So the idea with disaster recovery is to have one primary server on one location and one secondary server or more in completely other locations. So if something happens in the first place, then you can easily switch the entire solution to the other place, and it's going to be like fine and just work, and you know the work can be resumed at will. So if companies do not have disaster recovery in place, if something happens to the primary server, you're basically screwed. You can have also, well, the less worst case scenario, if I can say, is that you will have a lot of downtime, and the worst case is that you lose data. So that's terrible. So medium and large companies usually have processes already in place for disaster recovery. However, every new product that they had has to be replicated somehow, right? So when they install GitLab into their existing portfolio of external products that they need to have, they have to figure out themselves how to actually back up GitLab. Oh, someone has a mic on. I don't know. I think it's Colton. So this problem of replication, of replicating data from one server to another is super hard. It costs a lot of money and a lot of time for a lot of people. So what we want to do with that is help customers achieve this actually. So we have a solution with GitLab called GitLab Geo, which is a product that actually already replicates all the Git repositories and all the databases that we have. However, nothing that is saved on disk is actually replicated as of now. So the idea is to use GitLab Geo to to actually cover all the things that are saved on disk, which is the attachments that you can put on the issues or MRs, so basically screenshots, documents, stuff like that, the avatars that you have, all the things that are related to the CI, so basically all the logs, all the builds information that you can have. So these are a lot of data that are not replicated today, that cannot be replicated today. And this is what we want to achieve with this feature, is to basically let customer replicate everything from the primary server to the secondary server, and that being completely transparent for the customer also. So actually, we at GitLab, we need this because we have 70 terabytes of data that we need to back up, and at the moment we don't back them up. So I mean, it's terrible. But so ideally, we would use this solution ourselves and also let our customer use that. So what we plan to do for 8.14 is to deliver a kind of proof of concept. So we have a lot of different possible technical solutions that I'm not going to go into today because it's very technical. But basically, we want to try different approaches and also to ask customer if our approach is actually the one that they will be willing to buy, because that's the most important. But to buy and also to install into their existing installation. And if that's it, well, we'll have for 8.14 a proof of concept that we will be able to actually build upon for another release, like perhaps next month or whatever, and to actually deliver a new product, because the idea is to have a new product for this. So this is our plan for disaster recovery. We are working actively on it. We have a lot of, well, not a lot of people, but like a number of people who are discussing that on a daily basis and try to create a solution. So another thing that is coming in the future is Burndown Charts. So at the moment, developer uses Milestone to.
Sorry, Regis. Sorry, can I interrupt just for a question back on Geo for disaster recovery?
Yeah, sure.
So one thing I'm curious about is, so you talked about like the existing capabilities in Geo being able to do the replication, but not for like the files, avatars, things that you mentioned, or attachments that you mentioned. As we think about Geo for disaster recovery, is this an add-on to our existing Geo product, or are we looking at it as something completely separate where we feel like customers either want to use us for, the way that we initially designed Geo, or they're looking to use us for a disaster recovery solution?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. I don't know. I don't know because at the moment we recommend that they use GitLab Geo, and we say, okay, you can use that for disaster recovery, but we don't,
yeah, we tell them the limitations.
Yeah, we tell them the limitations. So perhaps because these are two problems, right? So the first problem with GitLab Geo is to reduce the latency between distributed teams, right? And so they can pull and push faster. So this is one problem, but the other problem is actually doing the disaster recovery stuff. So I would assume that this is a new product, but I mean, we have to discuss that with sales, with you, and with the marketing, of course. Because we want to provide a solution for disaster recovery specifically. So I mean, it's a we have to discuss that basically.
Okay, thank you.
So yes, burner charts. So at the moment, developers, they use Milestone to group tasks and to move towards the direction together. Reaching a milestone is a great achievement, and you have to be proud that, okay, we have succeeded this milestone and we are ready to ship now. However, it's super hard to actually know how long it will take to reach that milestone, and it's also hard to get a sense of how fast the team is going to actually close those issues. So to solve this kind of overview problem and to be able to give more planification tools to the team, we can have a lot of different approaches for that. But what we want to do is to actually provide a visual way of knowing when all the tasks in a given milestone will be finished, or at least an approximation, right? So introducing Burndown Charts. So what is this? It's a graphical representation of the work left to do versus the time that remains to be done in this milestone. It's I've heavily used in the agile world, so we can say that we are perhaps moving towards a more agile product, but actually we are not, you know, but it's just a very interesting concept that we have and that a lot of teams actually use, and we are just bringing this part of agile into GitLab. And I'm going to show you how it will look like in GitLab. So here, this is the milestone view enhanced. So basically at the bottom, you find all the current view that we have for the milestone, but we have added this part at the top. So this graph actually shows the number of issues or merge requests that have been closed over the time, right? So I think it's pretty straightforward. And then you have the dotted line, you know, that goes from the top straight to the bottom, and this shows the ideal completion time, you know, and the number of issues that have been completed over time. And for instance, here on the diagram, you see October 22. That means at this date, we should have closed all the issues for this milestone, right? So it's a great tool to see, okay, so how is it going? Are we doing fine, or are we completely out of the, you know, out of the place for this milestone? It's going to be great. So, however, to make this work, we need one thing first. It's to have a start date and an end date for the milestones. And at the moment, we don't have that for GitLab. So what will ship in 8.14 for sure is this concept of start and end date for the milestones, while we are working on the Burndown charts as well. So I don't think we are going to ship Burndown charts for 8.14, perhaps, but probably not. But at least we will ship the first iteration, which is the start and end date for the milestones. Then we will be able to display this kind of graph. Any question about that? I'm sure Amara has some.
I do. No, so this is really great, and I feel like it's a good follow-up to the session that we did last week on project management within GitLab. Mm-hmm. What I'm curious about, though, is how Burndown charts relate or do not relate to like cycle analytics. Because if I think about cycle analytics, there is a step where you get an understanding of how long it's taking your team to move from issue creation to like first merge request or first commit. And so I'm curious as to what's the relationship there.
Well, there is definitely a relationship, because those two gives an overview of what's going on, right? But these are also separate. Psychoanalytics is for like it's for a time range, right? It's like for the last 30 days or the last 90 days or the last 6 months, basically. Whereas the Burndown charts are for milestones, just for the milestones, and they will only measure the issues or the merge request, which are still good indicators about the project management, just project management. And the psychoanalytics will cover every steps of the way, right? Not just the issues and the MR. So basically, it's like an additional product to help team manage stuff, right? So I think it's still a very good tool to provide to teams. And I will also talk after that about time tracking, and also reiterate the fact that it's great because we will give a lot of different tools to help teams manage their projects. And with all those different views, and perhaps in the future, we can also make sure that all the data are accurate between all those different tools that we have, and they will be all integrated. That would be awesome. But I think it's different because here we just measure the current milestone, and you know it's complementary actually to psychoanalytics. Okay. Psychoanalytics. So we've talked already about psychoanalytics. Psychoanalytics is a tool that we've launched that measures how long it takes to go from an idea to the production. At the moment, psychoanalytics indicates the time for each stage of the development process. So the time it takes to actually cover each stage. However, this time is actually the total time for each stage, but developers don't have the breakdown of what's going on in each stage. So what we're going to do is, for each stage that we have in the psychoanalytics, basically issue, plan, code, test, blah blah blah, we will display the relevant events that have occurred for each one of these stage, and also indicate the time it took for every single item. And then therefore we will have also the total time on the left. So here on the right, you see, for instance, on the issue stage, we will display all the issues that have been created during that time, like during the last 30 days or 90 days, whatever. And then we will display how long it took to deal with each issue. Then for the code stage, for instance, we would display all the commits that have been created and that match this current stage. So it just more details, more information that will provide for people to understand each number that we give to them, actually.
So Regis, for this, can you speak to like how we would use this right-hand side at GitLab, like knowing how long each individual issue takes? What would we do with that information?
Well, it's just to have, from a management perspective, it's good, to know, okay, so in the last 30 days, we spent, 20 hours on the issue stage, but which issue actually took most of our time, So we know, okay, so we took 1 month in this stage. Why? Okay, this issue, wow, that was problematic, and we didn't realize it would take so much time to do this specific one, So this is how we would use that, basically.
Got it. That's helpful. And then I thought for Psychoanalytics V2, we also changed like the way that we track each stage. So I remember before. Okay, yeah. Can you speak to that?
So basically, in 8.13, like the last release that we made 3-4 days ago, we changed the way we measure that, because initially when we launched that in 8.11, Psychoanalytics, we only took into account what was shipped to production eventually during these last 30 days, right? So what we changed in 8.13 is that we take everything that has been initiated. Like, for instance, if you have created an issue in the last 30 days and you start applying a label to it, and then you move it to an issue board and stuff like that. So, and even if this ID didn't lead at the end in the last 30 days to something in production, we will take that into account also. So that means now it's not only what's been shipped to production that will be taken into account, because we realized after we launched that some psychoanalytics didn't have any data in it, and more importantly, for instance, our own psychoanalytics in the GitLab Community Edition repository didn't have any data, because we don't ship to production with our own tool for a lot of different reasons, but we don't. So this psychoanalytics was not useful for us, and we changed that. So now we have more data. We still have one or two bugs here and there that we are fixing right now, but basically the idea is that it has to be relevant for everyone, and if we just take something that's been shipped to production using our own solution, perhaps it's not super informative for every team. So now, yeah, these are the changes that we have done.
That's great. And so just a follow-up question to that. So I remember when we initially announced this, we talked about the importance of following GitLab flow. So with the changes that we made in this last release in 8.13, do we still have those same requirements? I imagine that, like, naturally there's going to be dependencies on, like, you have to use GitLab CI to be able to track the test stage, but can you still move through issue plan code without following all the steps of GitLab flow?
Yeah. So now you can, with this change, you can actually still do the issue, plan, code, test, and review phases without needing to deploy with GitLab. Of course, the staging and the production will have, to be deployed by GitLab, because otherwise we cannot measure those last two stages. But the 5 first stages, we can actually measure that now, even if you don't ship to production with our CI solution. So
wait, sorry. So if you're not using GitLab CI, you can still do test and review with you can still track test and review with Psychoanalytics?
No, sorry, yeah, you're right. So it's not, yeah.
Okay.
If you're not using GitLab CI to ship to production, but yes, you need
You have to have it
CI
configured.
to do the test and review. Sorry. Yeah.
No worries. No, I just, that's helpful clarification. Thank you.
Regis, before we move on, can I just ask a question regarding cycle analytics?
Sure.
What are the competitive products out there on the market? And secondly, same related, what do the competition, what do Atlassian have and what do GitHub have in relation to that? Do they have anything similar?
Okay, so as far as we know, there is no existing solution, like commercial solution that does that at the moment. We have one customer, I don't know who, but see that has mentioned that already in the past, that has created their own psychoanalytics, but the problem is that it's very hard to offer this kind of tool because you need to be integrated with everything in your platform, right? To be able to measure that efficiently. And at the moment, at the current stage of where we are the only one who has that. So GitHub doesn't have. They cannot have that because they would be they would need to plug to a lot of external solutions. But as we do everything now in GitLab, we are actually the only one who can do that. And of course, it's hard to do because there is a lot of different metrics to gather from all over the place in GitLab. But we are moving towards that, having like the right. It's already usable. It already works. But we want to make it even better, so we are accurately track everything. However, we are the only one who does that, as far as we know. And GitHub or Atlassian or Garrett is not even in the landscape. But anyway, we are the only one who does that.
Great, thank you.
Okay, I will. Continue then. We've already mentioned time tracking, but I will reiterate on what it is. So it's coming in 8.14. So companies and some developers too want to have a way to track the time they spend on things they're working on, and they don't necessarily want to use external tools to do so. So the problem is that if developers don't track their time, it's super hard to know if initial estimates were actually accurate. And also, it's hard for managers at the end of the day to know the real cost of a project because time is money eventually, right? So without efficient time tracking entries, you don't know the real cost of a project. So what we are going to do, sorry, I lost my, yeah. Okay, so time tracking will eventually let them have a better overview of what they've spent their time on. That it will also let them have better estimates and better reporting overall. So what we will ship with 8.14 is two new slash commands that they can enter either in an issue or in a merge request, and that will let them either write an estimate on how long they think the task they will do will take, and also enter a spent entry. So basically the time spent on each issue or merge request. And this last information, like the spend time, so basically they will enter, okay, I spent 2 weeks and 3 days on that, and any team members will be able to enter those kind of data, and we will gather and calculate the total for each issue and for each merge request. And this is how it would look in the sidebar. I've indicated a screenshot there. So we'll be able to measure, the time spent versus the estimate, and also if they are over estimation or under, depending on the case. So our first iteration will be very simple by design, because that's how we do it at GitLab, right? And it will evolve over the next releases. We will, with time tracking, we will actually increase the number of tools that we offer to do project management, basically overall. So psychoanalytics, issue boards, and now time tracking. Eventually, everything will be integrated. It's going to be amazing, I'm sure. But our vision for time tracking is to provide reports, to provide multiple ways of entering time, to have billable hours, to manage contractors. But as always, this is our vision, but it will we will have to listen to the feedback of both our customers and the community to provide actually what they want to pay for, you know. So the goal is to launch this as a new product. At the moment, it's we are planning to launch in like in the beta version, so it's going to be free because it's simple. But basically, you know, we still need to talk with Amara, Chad, and different other people to exactly define this market strategy. So, does anyone have any question about that? Okay.
I had a quick question actually.
Sure.
Is this going to be something in the community edition? It's not just for EE.
No, but it's going to be available on GitLab.com. So as we want to have that as a new product, so it's like a paying product, right? So it's going to be available for free on GitLab.com because we are running GitLab EE on GitLab.com, but it's going to be available for everyone who has a valid EE license.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
You're welcome. So speak now or you will be forever. Okay. New search bar in issues. So this is like, this is not a new direction feature, but this is well, everything that I'm going to talk about now is more like a goodies and that I think you should be aware of when you are talking to customers, just, you know, to excite them on what we are going to ship. So at the moment, the current search bar in the issues, like in our issue tracker, is very limited in functionalities. It's a bit of a pain, basically, to be honest, to be able to do complex searches. And the longer time you spend trying to search for something is just a waste, right? For everybody. So so if we successfully reduce this time, it's going to be easier for everybody, for us, for our customers, you know, for everyone. So what we are planning to do is to enhance greatly the search bar. I'm going to show you how. So we will remove all the filters that we have, and now we will have like intelligent completion mechanism, stuff like that, you know. So basically, it's going to be very similar to what Google does in Gmail, for instance, or Slack. The search bar is awesome. So what we want to do is to provide some quick ways of entering data, to have multiple complex queries also, you know. So I want to see all the issues created by this guy, with those labels, but not this label, this kind of stuff. And also what we want to do is to have, you know, on the left there is like a star. It's like a bookmark on your browser, you know. So basically you'll be able to search, to save filter, and to quickly access those filters also. So it's going to be so cool for instance, for a support team, you know, to be able to quickly search the relevant tickets, or to search stuff that are just related to me, you know, like because what I want is very specific to me, right? So it's going to save a lot of time, and it's going to be much quicker also. So it's great.
Question on the saved searches or filters, Regis. Are they at a personal level, or are they at like a project level?
They are at the personal level.
Okay, so each individual has their own group of saved filters.
Yeah, at first, I mean, you know, again, perhaps we'll have the interest of having group filters, I don't know, in the future, but at first it's going to be just my search.
Does that relate at all to Elasticsearch?
Well, Elasticsearch is a technology to quickly find words in a lot of text, right? For instance, or to find items in a lot of different items. And so it doesn't really relate to that, because Elasticsearch is the underlying technology for search, right? But I don't even know if we actually using Elasticsearch just for the issue list, but Elasticsearch is used, for instance, when you do a code search throughout all your repositories. So this is really a backend, so it's not related per se.
Yeah, that's what I thought. I just wanted to see if there was any relation there. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, so unless you have questions, I will move on. 3.
Sorry, Regis, I do have a question. So I'm curious as to why just like your perspective on
Mhm.
focusing on issues first, like really changing the search experience with issues. Because if I think about the filters that we use for issues, we like also use them in issue board as well. And so I'm just interested to hear your perspective on like, is this an overall search change that we're looking to make across the product and we're first starting in issues, or you know, is it just that we realized that teams have so many issues that we wanted to just implement it here?
Yeah, so it's going to be, at the moment, it's only relevant to have this kind of new search in issues and merge request list, because on issue boards, it will be much harder to have the two. So on the issue board specifically, it's at the moment, unless a UX person here contradicts me, but it's going to be easier in the issue boards to actually have filters, you know, like the current labels that we have, stuff like that, rather than complex queries. But the goal is still always, you know, across the board to have a coherent product, you know, and everything is the same. So we'll start anyway by doing that in issues. Then probably we'll merge that for the merge request screen, and then we'll see if it makes sense to have it elsewhere, right? And also, as we want to ship fast, so we need to restrict the scope. So the first iteration for that is just to have it in the issues. Otherwise, we won't ship it because it's too big. So this is important. This is just a UX problem and a visual problem, but it's a big problem, I think. It's about the blank states. Currently, when people download our product and use it for the first time, so there are no issues, there are no projects, there are nothing in GitLab. And so when an admin or a user install, you know, and try to use the product, they have this kind of screen, like white blank screen with just no milestone to show, for instance, for the milestone view. But you know, it's not welcoming, it's not interesting. If you don't know what a milestone is, well, perhaps everyone knows what a milestone is. Perhaps that's the wrong use case, but you know, we don't explain exactly what a milestone is, right? Or what an issue board will be, or what the labels are, right? So the idea is that we will fine-tune everything and have great visuals that welcome the users and that will take them by the hand and say, okay, so we have a great product. Because the first seconds a user comes and play with a new product, they make up their mind in the first few seconds, right? Or the next few minutes. And it's just about giving a feeling of trust, you know, or overall, right? And say, okay, so they put attention to details, it's reassuring, I will be taken by the hands, and my users, more specifically, when they will have that in their hands, they will be able to take care of themselves because everything is explained, is great, right? So if we make those first blank screens better, it's going to be better for us, basically, and for them also. So just to show you that, what we can do for that. So this is like the new milestone view. So remember, we had that, and now we have this. So I think it's better because, you know, so those visuals are great, but also we explain what a milestone is and what we can do with that. And then we have this button, new milestone, you know, it's great. Another example would be the issue tracker. At the moment, it's a blank page with nothing. So now we have a visual. We have, okay, issue tracker is where you do this and this, you know, create an issue, blah, blah, blah. So this UX is important for the product in general, and we want to be better at that in the future. And this is what we are going to ship soon. Like it's an ongoing effort because we have a lot of different screens. So not everything will ship for 8.14, but some of this work is actually coming in this release and in the upcoming releases. So thank you, great UX team. Do you have a question about that? Okay. Again, it's super easy. Like, you know, it just revamp a welcome screen or, you know, those blank screens, but it has a great impact on the overall feeling and, you know, for our users. It's super important. So these are not features. This is the last slide, don't worry. But I will just have a quick overview of the remaining stuff that we're going to do for 8.14. So in 8.14, we will add something that we didn't have. I don't know why, but all the, you know, in GitLab you can reply by email. When you receive an issue, you know, and you are part of the conversation, you receive all the discussion in email. But you can also reply by email. And when you reply by email to an issue, your comment, your email will be actually added as a comment in the issue. But it works great with Gmail, with a lot of different email providers, but with email that are sent through Microsoft Exchange, it doesn't work because they have special HTML stuff, you know, that mess the entire stuff. So Microsoft Exchange is, you know, used widely in corporations. So we will add support for that in 8.14. So great. Review apps, which is absolutely amazing, and in my opinion a game changer, will become much smarter in 8.14. So basically now we'll auto close the environment when a branch is deleted. So remember, review apps, it's apps that are created automatically for each merge request that you have in your project. So for instance, in the case of GitLab.com, for every new feature, you could have a button on each merge request, you know, that contain this new feature, and you just click on it and it creates the environment for GitLab.com with this feature. So it's amazing. I mean, you don't even need now to create yourself a server, you know, and to install the code, to set up everything, you know. So everything is done for you. It's incredible. But review apps, you know, it has launched last in 8.12 or 8.13, well, don't remember anyway. But now it will become smarter. So we'll free up resources for all those new apps that have been created. It's great, and also a lot of performance improvement planned for this release. So I should have put the 8.14 issue number, so you would be able to actually see it yourself and everything that we are planning. But this was what I've presented is the main stuff that we are going to ship in 8.14. So do we have any questions?
I had a question, but I think it was more for Amara, actually. I'm just wondering if we're going to do like a big marketing push for review apps like we did with issue boards now that we're getting closer to having the complete feature.
Yeah, so I was just replying in the chat, but yes, we are. So if you remember, this was initially planned for 8.13, but we wanted to wait until we had the automatic delete. And so now that that's planned for 8.14, we'll basically just pick up where we left off in that marketing issue. So actually, like, the landing page is already created. I know Mark has already started work on the blog post. I'll be working on positioning this with the press. So we'll sort of just pick up where we left off. And yeah, hopefully, you know, if this hits 8.14, we'll definitely do a marketing push around it.
Okay. All right, any other questions?
Yeah, Regis, I have one. When will you mentioned that for the
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, my mic kind of cut out there.
Okay.
But for the Geo disaster recovery piece, when will that be available, assuming everything goes well, to be able to sell?
So if everything goes well, 8.15 perhaps, but you know, I mean, if everything goes well, and there are so many moving parts for this feature, it's so complex, especially at scale, you know. So like replicating a project that has 10 megabytes is super easy, right? But if this feature is aimed at big corporations who have a lot of data, so it's super hard problem to tackle. So if everything goes well and everything's fine, perhaps in 2 months it's going to be ready. I don't know, you know. But like ideally in 2 months it's there, but we never know, because we are discovering new stuff every day for that, and new problems that we didn't think of, you know, and a lot of different stuff. Just so you know, our competitors doesn't really have solutions for that either. So we might be the first one to come up with that. So hopefully, I don't know, but we'll try to, at least, you know, because this is a super hard problem to tackle down.
Yeah, definitely. That's why it's exciting if we are able to. I think that that would generate the most buzz out of anything that I've seen since I've been here. So that's really cool.
Yeah, that would be awesome. So I will let you know anyway on the progress, you know, on another glue or whatever. Or you can still, if you want to read the very technical stuff, join our Slack channel about that. But it's pretty boring. So
All right, sounds good. Thanks.
okay.
Just to follow up on that question, Regis, do you know, are we planning to do a beta for disaster recovery? I know when we released Geo the first time, we betaed customers, and then
I think we will have to. I mean,
okay.
you know, launching something like that without declaring beta, it's dangerous, right? Because we are talking about data loss here. So I mean, I mean, we should have like a partner that helps, you know, like a customer that is a partner and that will help us test our solution anyway, because it's super hard.
Got it.
Yeah, definitely.
And then, so when you say that we're potentially 2 months out, that's to beta.
Oh yeah.
Okay, just want to make sure. Okay, thank you.
Geo took like 6 months to create anyway, so you know, it's in the scale of Geo. So
Got it. Yeah, thanks for clarifying.
yep. All right, I will pass on to Amara perhaps to finish that meeting.
Awesome. Yeah, thanks, Regis. So I just left a comment to the sales team. I think I don't know exactly how we did the beta, finding beta customers for when we first released GitLab Geo, but I think for disaster recovery, it'd be awesome to see if there's existing customers that would be interested in being beta testers, and hopefully with the end result of also producing case studies with them. So we should just think about that between Regis and I, and then the rest of the sales team. If there's no other questions, again, thank you to Regis for today's session. It was awesome. I'll be posting the recording in the GLU folder, and I'll be sure to share a link once that's live to this email group. Thanks, everyone. Bye.
Have a good day. Thank you.
Thanks, Regis.
Thanks, Regis.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.